Hey, what's up, you guys? Iron and Integrity, and today I just wanted to talk about why everybody does not need a podcast. I don't know why every person who gets famous feels the need to have a podcast. I honestly think it's just because it's a really easy, simple form of content that they don't have to edit. They can just have people on and talk about nothing. But for most people, it just does not make sense because they have nothing interesting to say. For instance, Martyn blew up in the space because he's a bodybuilder. So I have no idea why people would want to tune into his podcast to talk about relationship advice. The dude is 35 years old with the mind of a 15-year-old. If you don't believe me, you can watch any of his podcast clips just like this one.
Do you think guys and girls can actually be friends?
Yeah, but I think there's boundaries. If I'm in a relationship, I'm not gonna have a guy best friend.
Well, let's say you're not dating a guy. Do you still think you have a guy friend? I just think guys aren't trying to make friends with girls.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind of guys are you hanging out with?
Every single guy on the planet.
This is like a middle school level conversation. Obviously, there are a lot of guys who only want to be friends with girls just to try to get with them. But you can't speak for every guy on the planet saying that no guy wants to be friends with girls just because you don't.
There's not a guy on this planet that goes, that chick's ugly, I want to be a friend with her. Or that chick's hot, I want to be.
But do you want to every friend that you've ever had that's a girl?
No. I mean, that I maybe originally when I was like trying to be your friend, because I wasn't trying to be your friend.
What am I hearing right now?
I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. Listen, a guy won't, this is the truth. Like, there is not a time when a guy goes, I just want to get to know that person, period, just because they look like they'd be a cool friend.
Yeah, this isn't the truth. This might be your truth because you have a gooner brain. Because the first thought you think when you see a woman is that you just want to sleep with her. It's really funny coming from a dude who does a podcast with a girl who's 10 years younger because he's basically just admitting that he only wants to sleep with her. But this more just goes to my point on that everybody does not need a podcast. If you don't have anything interesting or insightful to say, then why do you need a podcast? You cannot convince me that people actually look at Bradley Martyn for dating advice. There's just no way. He has the most surface level ideas of all time. There is no nuance to any of his takes. It's just like bro science. Just check out this next clip.
A man will sacrifice his happiness for his family, and a woman will sacrifice her family for her happiness.
I don't believe that.
That's deep.
Man, that's deep. Is it though? I mean, it sounds like something a 15-year-old Redditor would say after they just got their heart broke. Saying something misogynistic isn't deep. It's just stupid and low effort.
I believe that.
I believe it.
Because you guys are the men.
No, because it happened to me in real life.
Yeah, I believe that. And that happens a lot.
What kind of proof could you even have of this happening a lot is my question. The dude says that his mom left him because she wanted to live a certain type of life, but that's one example of something happening. That doesn't make every single woman like your mother.
They're like cats. A little more selfish.
Yep.
Yeah, but my thing is don't.
Men are more like dogs.
Don't.
There was just no way you convinced me this is a grown man. Dude said women are like cats and men are like dogs. Steroids had to have fried his brain because there's just no way he thinks like this. And his fanboys in the comments are agreeing saying, yeah, women request 80% of the divorces. Do you know what the number one cause of divorce is? Infidelity, cheating. That's a good reason to get divorced. And it's the exact opposite of what he's saying. It's men choosing their happiness over the happiness of his family. Because if he didn't cheat, his family would still be together. But I actually think this goes to a bigger problem of people just having an opinion when they really don't know what they're talking about. For whatever reason, TikTok emboldened a lot of stupid people to share their opinions when nobody asked for them. Now, I understand you have the right to say whatever you want, but at least be somewhat educated on the topic before you start talking about it. Like, check out this next girl.
If you are broke, you should not be dating. You need to focus on yourself. Broke guys are usually the most insecure guys on the planet.
I just never understood this line of thinking of saying, well, if you don't have any money, you shouldn't date. Dating someone requires no money. The only thing it requires is two consenting adults to go out and have fun and go get to know each other, which doesn't require any money. You can go walk around a park if you want to. If you're at a time in your life where you only want to date people who are making a certain amount of money and you don't want to date what you would call broke men, that's your prerogative. But to tell other people that they shouldn't date just because they don't have money is so silly. And she used the same trope that a lot of people use, saying that all broke men are insecure. This guy does it too.
Ladies, I'm gonna be real with you. The biggest mistake that you could make as a woman in a relationship is dating a broke man. He is going to start projecting his own insecurities onto you.
If any of this is true, then you're not dating a broke man, you're dating an insecure man. Those two things are not mutually exclusive. Just because a guy is broke doesn't mean he's insecure about how much money you make or the lack of money that he makes. I mean, people in med school, I'm sure they're broke. They have to do several years of residency before they can make any money or a substantial amount of money. So does that mean every person in med school is insecure and shouldn't date?
Lord forbid that you make more money than him, because you will also see a change in his behaviors and actions.
So would it be okay if he's broke and he still makes more money than you? Wouldn't that make y'all broke? Or that dude's obviously making that video for women's attention, saying, hey, look at me, I have money and I'll buy you things. There's also other people that echo that same sentiment.
Women who don't want to date a broke man are not gold diggers. They're peace seekers. Dating a broke man is anything but peaceful. If a man feels like he's not where he wants to be in life, or he feels inferior to his peers or his partner, he is always stressed and irritated and mean.
You just described an insecure man. That has nothing to do with their financial status. You can be rich and still be insecure and mean and spiteful and still not want the best for your partner. Just because a man doesn't have money doesn't mean that he's going to be angry at you.
A broke man is unreliable. He's unhappy.
Every broke man working himself through med school is unreliable.
A broke man is hard to respect because he doesn't respect himself.
How do you make the conclusion that every person who doesn't have a lot of money doesn't respect themselves? I just really don't understand where you get this kind of logic from.
A broke man really has no business dating because he has yet to fully be able to take care of himself and support himself, so he won't be able to show up and fully support you as a partner.
Obviously, it costs nothing to support your partner, so I'm going to assume you're talking about financial support because that'd be the only thing that might make sense. So I'll go with your most logical argument that he can't financially support you, which is true. If a man is broke, he can't financially support you. But why would you need to be financially supported unless you were broke? So should women not date if they're broke either? Obviously, she would never make that point. It's just a really silly and really sad double standard to have. You trying to make men feel less than because they don't have a lot of money is just a really weird look.
And a man with no purpose or identity of his own is either very depressed or a dangerous man, or both, which is a horrible combination.
And this is something I can relatively agree with. If a man doesn't have purpose, he's not going to be very fruitful in anybody's life. But you're making a false connection of somebody who has money and somebody who has purpose. There's some places where high school teachers don't crack $40K a year. Does that man not have purpose? I mean, if his purpose is to teach the younger generation, but he doesn't make a lot of money, is he dangerous too? If you were talking about somebody who lacks ambition and who does not want to do anything to further themselves in life, you have a much better point. But somebody being broke doesn't mean they don't have any ambition. There are plenty of people in undergrad and med school and law school who don't have a lot of money but are striving to do something better with their lives. So that should they not date during that entire time because they're not financially stable? Would you say that same thing to women in college? Should they not date until they have a good paying job? It's just not a well thought out opinion. It's just very surface level. Feels like she dated a few manipulative men who didn't have a lot of money and then just decided to label every single man who doesn't have a lot of money as broke and unreliable. And just goes to my point that not everybody needs a podcast or not everybody needs an opinion on everything. And I'll leave you with one last clip to prove my point.
If I go broke today, I can make $1 million next week.
How would you go about making $1 million if you went broke next week?
I mean, I have a 200,000 person wait list to join Capital Club. I have about a 20% conversion rate. So I have 20,000 people already there. All I would have to do is send a message and be like, I'm doing an event in Miami, yacht day, 50% margins, sell 50 tickets at $1,000. I already have 25 grand in the bank account. 25 grand runs me 3 months. I can have enough cash flow to be able to set up a business plan.
Dude said, if I went broke, I'd have $1 million by next week. When he asked him how he'd do it, he explained how he'd have 25 grand. My math isn't the greatest, but I think that's a little bit short of $1 million. My main point and what I want everybody to take from this video, if you and your friends are all drinking, having conversations, and one of them says, oh man, we should start a podcast, tell them no. If you and your girls are drinking wine and one of them says we should make a TikTok account about relationship advice, tell her no. If one of your friends says, oh, put on that new Bradley Martyn podcast.
And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no.
But that's all I got for you guys this week. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you next Friday.
Why do they doubt the kid?
Artlist.io